Greetings, light workers, way shores, spiritual warriors, our patriots of the world. Hope you're having a most blessed day. It is Saturday, August 22nd. Some of the latest intel on the RV. This was posted last night from our divine sister of the light, Ginger Doucette. Thank you for this, Ginger. This is from the latest RV intel from Sky Prince regarding the RV information. Since nothing like this has ever actually happened before, I don't really want to talk about it much, but I'll pass on the information. So this is coming from her intel sources and the military and her contacts from Medbed Central. It's the name she gave to the main department within the military that's overseeing the introduction and deployment of medbeds. In other words, it's like the base, headquarters, or control center for the global medbed rollout. In the video a couple days ago, I talked about one of my contacts in Q, the military intelligence that we spoke a couple years ago on the phone, and he told me all about the medbeds and he could build them and what the cost and what it would take to build them and his experiences with the med beds. Her contacts in the military contacted her yesterday saying that her med bed treatment live stream has been added to the schedule. Live stream for public release scheduled for this November. Let's see. The military, or the global military intelligence, this is made up of the Earth Alliance, the White Hats, and the Galactics. Every political party, country, and all people are now under the management of the global military alliance we call the Earth Alliance. There's a reason for this. Do you remember how it was said before that Trump needed to step aside so he wouldn't be in the way, or that he had to leave the country? Either way, when the RV is implemented, he wasn't supposed to be there. Trump might be present in public, but in reality, as of yesterday, he's no longer in that position. That's the intel coming in. Trump is no longer in the seat of power. The military is leading. This is a military endeavor. The same goes for other presidents and prime ministers. They've all been placed under the global military alliance's management. So what that means is the military is now aggressively pushing forward with the RV. They're aiming to complete the RV by September 1st. However, this is a bit of a tough challenge because processing some bonds takes several months. There's just way too many cases to handle. And there's other intel coming in that the bonds people are cashing in currently. For 4B, everyone is required to complete their appointments and procedures. They're preparing Tier 5 and making general RV available. In other words, the Tier 5 phase will also move forward. And the important time frame that's coming up is mid-September. They want to finish everyone's procedures by September 1st, then focus on the next big event, the one scheduled for mid-September. They're planning to lock down the entire planet and carry out disclosures via EBS and EAS, the emergency broadcast systems. Now, regarding the medbeds, this is the timing when Trump will announce their existence. In mid-September, he should announce will possess all this technology, get people to accept the fact, and then actually start the rollout 2 months later in November. In the meantime, we'll make our appointments and spend time on vacation or whatever we choose to do with our time. Of course, there will be prior notifications about lockdown periods and such. That's the plan, but plans do change, as we know. Hopefully the can doesn't keep being kicked down the road. We're at the end of the road. Most people have had enough. This is where the sidewalk ends, literally. So this is some new information that she received yesterday. The military related info came in early yesterday morning, but the medbed info just came through. So everything's moving forward on schedule. Also, she heard the RV will be done in a shotgun start format because they want to prevent so-called whales, bondholders, sovereigns, and group leaders from gaining liquidity and then buying up more currency. only to go through the 4B process again. They don't want double dipping or handing out additionally acquired currency to friends and family. So this has to be done like equally, and obviously there's NDAs and whatnot being signed to put everyone on a level playing field. They're going to use a shotgun start so no one has the chance to buy more currency, because people will just cash in their currency and go to these, banknote dealers and, just buy up all their currency with what they have and then cash that in for a higher rate. That would just be insane and not fair to, the average person, the average citizen. So this makes sense. And that's why the intel we put out yesterday, why the you know, bank note dealers and sellers will be shut down 48 hours prior to the public release of Tier 4B and other releases publicly, to where people have cash in hand, or, they'd be wiped out quick, so they'll be shut down. And that would be a sign we're looking for, that we're, we have 48 hours until the public release, the revaluation of all currencies. Additionally, she heard some bonds will be paid out today, but not all, for just some people. They're continuing to test the system, checking if funds are transferring without issues, no leaks or clogs. So those receiving liquidity today are, so to speak, part of a preliminary test or trial team. We need to keep an eye on how things unfold, but please treat this information as just a reference. Don't get your hopes up too much on specific dates or months. However, if you keep it in the back of your mind as knowledge, when things progress further, you'll be able to say, I thought so. Take it all with a grain of salt, but keep in your back of your mind, watch how things go. So that's the intel. We'll put out another video later today on some other updates. I want to get this out to you as soon as possible, and let us know in the comments what your any intel coming in. We're getting many different sources. Some are in conflict, but most of them are saying very soon, within the next couple of weeks. TNT Tony said the bankers he's in contact with put out yesterday that they'll be working all weekend to prepare for, the public release. So we'll see in the next couple days and see what happens Monday. The crypto is very volatile. Everything took off yesterday and then it kind of pulled back a little bit, especially with the XRP. It went up to about $1.60 right now. It's 3:44 p.m. 8/22, August 22nd, Saturday. It's currently at $1.47, so it went up 47 cents in the last few days since the crypto summit in Washington. And Brad Garlinghouse also testified in front of the CFTC a couple days ago, and that's getting the ball rolling. And we'll see what happens here in the coming days, but we know also that some intel coming in from multiple sources that China is going to be locking down by September 13th, and they're saying that all their citizens need to return to China by the 15th of September, and this coincides with the signing of the Clarity Act, and also, Trump saying that all the troops will be pulled out of Iraq by the 15th of September. So this is kind of a timeline and an anchor point. We know a lot is going to happen over the next few weeks. We're still in this eclipse corridor. Tomorrow we start Virgo season, the time of the harvest. So this is very synchronic with, everything that's going down. And Mark Z with Mr. Cottrell yesterday talked about the Chinese citizens, elders. So this could potentially be a sign of GESARA, Nasara and GESARA being activated, with the Chinese elders having, all their people in country by the 15th, and then locking down their country. So this is big, as you all know, China is a big member of the BRICS, BRICS organization. So this is all part of GESARA. So have a most beautiful, blessed day. We'll put out another video here later this evening if any new intel comes in. Thank you for joining us. Please follow our channel, share this video out to your people. Have a blessed day. Victory of the light. Namaste.